Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening to learn about the proposed project to rehabilitate the Gregg Road Bridge number M-0119, which spans over a tributary to the Hollings River. My name is Lori Main, and I will be your host this evening. I hope everyone is well and having an enjoyable day. Before we get started, we're going to go over the Zoom controls for any of us that are not familiar with the platform. Your microphones have been muted and your cameras turned off. To reduce the bandwidth of tonight's meeting, please do not turn on your video cameras. Following tonight's presentation, you will have the opportunity to provide comments and ask questions during our question and answer session. If time allows, to raise your hand, please do not raise your hand, by the way, during the presentation, but after the presentation, to raise your hand to provide comments, please click on the react icon and then click on raise hand. If you have joined us by telephone this evening, you will press *9 to raise your hand on your telephone keypad. You can also type your questions in the chat at any time tonight during the presentation or after, and that icon is also at the bottom of your screen. When it's your turn to speak, we will ask you to unmute, and then you will need to unmute yourself by clicking on the microphone icon at the bottom of your screen or by pressing *6. And that is all. Now I would like to introduce you to Brian Copley, who manages our bridge section. Brian?
Hi, good evening. How do I turn my camera on? How do I turn my camera on, Lori?
Lower left-hand corner, you should see a camera icon, Brian.
I don't see it.
You should see start video right next to the mute icon on the lower left.
I don't know. I'll go ahead and get started here. Good evening. My name is Brian Copley. I'm manager for the Montgomery County Bridge Program. Thank you for attending our meeting tonight presented by the Montgomery County Department of Transportation. Rashid Abramoff is the project manager for this project, but unfortunately, he was not able to make it this evening. He had family health issues he had to deal with. So I'm going to be doing the presentation this evening. Next slide, please. Okay. Okay, so the purpose of this project meeting, our agenda for today's meeting is as follows. We will begin by introducing the project team and covering some background information. We will present the project scope and cover anticipated impacts, project costs, funding, and the schedule. Finally, we will allow some time for questions and feedback. Your feedback is very important as it allows the project team to understand the community's concerns. All feedback will be evaluated and considered during the design. Okay, project team. So the project team consists of Montgomery County Department of Transportation, Montgomery Planning, Rustic Roads Advisory Committee, and Mercado Consultants as the engineering consultant. Throughout the design of the project, we work and coordinate with with all these team members to successfully implement the project. Montgomery County DOT is the bridge owner and responsible for managing the design and construction, securing the funding, acquiring of right-of-way or easements, public outreach, collecting community input, and coordinating the project with relevant state and federal agencies. Montgomery Planning is providing recommendations for master plan implementation. The Rustic Road Advisory Committee is providing recommendations to preserve the historical, scenic, and agriculture character of the area. Mercado Consultants is the lead consultant and is providing engineering services to develop contract documents, including design plans, specifications, and construction cost estimates. The consultant will obtain all the required permits and will also provide engineering services during bidding and construction. I'm not sure if Michael Mercado is on the call or not. I know he had the stomach flu this morning.
He is not on the call tonight.
Yeah. Just a reminder, please hold your questions to the end. Project location. It's the bridge crossing the tributary, the Hollings River here. It's just approximately 500 feet west of Georgia Avenue. The intersection with Gregg and Georgia Avenue. Olney is to the south, and Brookville is to the north. Next slide, please. Okay. Okay. In 1996, Gregg Road was designated to be exceptionally rustic road. Any improvements to rustic roads must be reviewed by the Rustic Road Advisory Committee. We have met and presented the project to them. The speed limit for this section of roadway is posted at 25 miles per hour. The average daily traffic count in 2020 indicated that approximately 420 vehicles used the bridge daily. Next slide, please. Okay. I think we skipped a slide there, didn't we? Oh, there we go. Okay. Now go back. One more. There we go. All right. The existing bridge was originally constructed in 1958 and consists of two abutments. Let's see. See, there's one there. This is the other abutment. Steel beams and a metal deck. Here are a couple photos of the bridge. The top of the bridge is paved with asphalt. The structure carries two travel lanes and has W-beam railings for safety. The total bridge length is just shy of 22 feet. The clear roadway width is about 17.5 feet and carries two-way traffic. The MBIS band length is about 18 feet 4 inches. The bridge is posted for weight restrictions and has warning signs on both approaches. Next slide, please. Uh-oh. Oh, Lori, what happened here?
Sorry, guys. Brian, when you use the mouse as a pointer, can you let go of it after you do that? Because it's, I can't use the mouse at the same time as you are.
Okay.
So yeah, just as soon as, okay, and this is the next slide. Sorry about that, everyone.
All right. Okay, so the most recent bridge inspection conducted in April 2022 revealed continued deterioration of the existing bridge. We will cover the most evident issues starting with the top side. Here we have two photos showing pavement potholes. These are on the approach roadways. The potholes are minor issues and don't pose an immediate hazard. In the next couple of slides, we will take a look at the underside of the bridge. Next slide, please. Okay, deterioration of the existing bridge. The 2022 inspection of the bridge's underside revealed excessive corrosion. The photo on the left shows extensive corrosion of the bottom of the steel decking with areas of section loss. The photo on the right shows full section loss to the bottom of the north fascia end dam. Over time, some corrosion of steel bridge components is expected. In this case, excessive corrosion of the metal deck is undesirable. So basically what it is the deck is a steel corrugated plank deck with asphalt on top of it. And it's really a porous decking type system. So it lets water through it down to the metal components underneath the decking and the steel beams. So all that water and salt that gets dumped on it in the wintertime gets down there and just corrodes the beams. Next slide, please. Okay, the superstructure of a bridge typically consists of everything below the deck and above the abutments. In the case of Gregg Road Bridge M-0119, the overall superstructure was found to be in poor condition due to deterioration of the beams. Here are a couple photos showing deterioration. We have section loss at the bottom of the beam. Let's see, I'll attempt to use the pointer here. Now I'm screwing it up again. I won't use the pointer. Can you go back, please?
You have the pointer now, Brian.
Okay, can you go back a slide?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So here you see the section loss in the bottom of the beam. And over here you see deterioration of the bearings that support the bridge on the abutment. So the first question you might have is the bridge safe? Yes, it is safe. The April 2022 bridge inspection did not identify any immediate hazards. The bridge was rated to be in poor condition and is scheduled to be inspected on a regular basis, with the next inspection being April 2025. MCDOT is working proactively to rehabilitate the bridge before it becomes a safety hazard. Next slide, please. Okay, the primary scope of this project is to rehabilitate the Gregg Road Bridge by replacing the portion of the bridge above the abutments. So let me try this pointer thing, if it works. Right here. This is what we're replacing. The existing bridge abutments will remain in place as they were deemed to be in good condition. So these are the existing bridge abutments for these things here. The project does not include improvements to the existing bridge abutments. These are needed to connect the new superstructure to the existing abutments and to protect the bridge from being undermined in the long term. I'm sorry, let me say that again. The project does include improvements to the existing bridge abutments. These are needed to connect the new superstructure to the existing abutments and to protect the bridge from being undermined in the long term. Specifically, we are planning the pressure grout voids in the rock outcrop underneath the east abutment. That's over here. And provide a new cutoff wall upstream of the west abutment, and that's right here. As part of this project, roadway approaches on either side of the bridge will be repaved. Next slide, please. Okay. The replacement bridge will be composed of steel beams, a concrete deck, and existing abutments. As mentioned on the previous slide, only the bridge structure above the abutments will be replaced. That's this area here. That's the superstructure. A preliminary investigation revealed that replacing the abutments would significantly complicate the project due to the presence of rock. By reusing existing abutments, we are able to simplify construction and reduce the overall cost of the project. Next slide, please. The bridge width will be increased slightly by 6 inches to allow for a clear roadway width of 18 feet. This is the clear roadway width here, from railing to railing. The intent is to better accommodate farm equipment used by the local farmers. A modern safety railing will be provided on both sides of the bridge. Next slide, please. So this is a photo of the approach roadway looking east towards the intersection with Gregg and Georgia Avenue. The bridge is located right here. Next slide, please. So here we have a plan view of the proposed bridge with dimensions. The proposed dimensions are over here. We have 18-foot clear roadway, 20 feet, 22 feet out to out. Existing over on this side, 17.5-foot clear road, 19.5 out to out. The cutoff wall will be installed over here to help protect the abutment. The water flows from the south side underneath Gregg Road towards the north. It basically comes in from, from the west, like heading east to the south underneath like that. As part of this project, MCDOT will work with owners of properties along Gregg Road to secure any right-of-way or temporary access rights we need to facilitate the construction. Our property acquisition section will be reaching out to the individual property owners as needed. The adjacent properties are private property. There's no parkland here. Next slide, please. So to do this construction, because of the narrow aspect of the bridge, we're going to have to close the road to safely do this construction. Not only for the construction workers, but also for the traveling public. This is the safest way to go about doing this project. Unfortunately, as you can see, there's really no good short detour route around to get around this project. So working with our Division of Traffic Engineering, our proposed detour route is as that's shown here. It's approximately 5.2 miles. Depending on the direction of travel, motorists may use Georgia Avenue or Zion Road to get to Brookville Road. The detour will be in place for a duration of construction, currently estimated to be 4 to 6 months, but a good contractor could probably get it done quicker than that. But to be safe, we're going to say 4 to 6 months. Next slide, please. So we are about midway through the design process, with the design about 65% complete. This design is fully funded by Montgomery County, with general obligation bonds being the primary source of funding. The estimated cost to complete the design and obtain permits is about $225,000. The estimated cost of construction is about $1 million. At this time, construction is not funded. We anticipate receiving funding either in fiscal year 2026 or fiscal year 2027, depending on availability of funds. We anticipate to have construction permits from relevant agencies in late 2025, early 2026. Pending availability of funding, this project will go to construction in summer of 2026 and run into the fall. The planned delay for construction is to allow for procurement of materials and to avoid in-stream work restrictions, which are from March to May. Next slide, please. So the next step of the project is to proceed with the final design based on comments we received from the listed permitting agencies and feedback from the community. The project team welcomes any comments you might give tonight. After tonight, you will have 1 month to provide the project team with your feedback. You may submit your feedback by using the online comment form at the provided web address. The project team will evaluate all feedback and consider it during the final design. Here's the project web address. Here is Rashid's contact information. He is the design project manager for this project. Please do not hesitate to reach out to him if you have any questions or need additional information related to this project. The best way to reach out is via email, but if you prefer to reach out by phone, he still has one of those. Tomorrow we will upload to the project webpage a recording of today's meeting, along with the PowerPoint slides. The project website may be accessed by using the link shown. That's just down here. The website link is also at the top of this evening's chat and was provided on the original invitation for this meeting. So this concludes our presentation tonight. Thank you very much for your attention. We will now move to the question and answer session. The project team would be glad to hear your concerns and comments and answer any questions. I'll now turn the meeting back over to Lori Main to help run the Q&A session.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments that they would like or questions? I don't have any hands raised right now, guys. And I don't have a list tonight, so. Oh, Karen Singh would like to speak. Karen, can you unmute yourself?
Hey, yeah, can you hear me? This is Karan Singh.
Yes.
Sorry. So I just had a quick question. I may have missed it, but since the bridge is deteriorating and the construction won't be going for some time, are routine inspections going to be continued to be done for the bridge? Because, you know, with rust, sometimes it accelerates faster than you think.
Yes, routine inspections are going to continue. We will continue to monitor the structure. If it gets to a point, we could increase the inspections.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks.
great. Um,
I think you said the next scheduled inspection is in April of this year.
Yes, that's correct. So we'll decide on that inspection whether we want to increase the frequency or not. So
okay, next we'll hear from Tony Biscagli. Tony, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. If you could please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm working on that. Can you hear me?
I can.
Great. Well, first, thanks for holding this session. It was very informative. We really appreciate it. My question doesn't relate directly to the bridge, but perhaps about 100 feet as you come around the bend, if you're heading west. So maybe 100 feet past that bridge, right at the bend, there's been a water problem there for many years. There'll be a pothole that might be 2 feet deep. I know they installed some drainage a few years back. Has that been looked at, or is that going to be impacted at all?
that's outside the scope of this project. But I can pass your concern on to the Division of Highway Services.
Okay,
You
thank
said
you.
that was 100 feet west?
Yeah, it's just as you come around the bend before you head up the hill
Okay.
on the right side. And then they may have solved the problem with drainage, but I'm not sure. I see water collecting there now and then.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Tony. Next, we'll hear from Donald Chamberlain.
Okay, I should be unmuted.
You are.
Okay, first of all, thank you for the presentation. It's been informative. I represent the Patuxent Watershed Protective Association, and the project lies within the Hollings River watershed, which is a subset of the greater Patuxent watershed in Montgomery County. So this afternoon, in response to the material Mr. Abramov was kind enough to provide, I sent him 6 comments, and some of them I'll call them minor editorial nits, and I'll skip those. The 3 points that I did want to mention is number one, the Patuxent Watershed Protective Association does approve of the limited scale of the bridge and the beam and deck replacement work because it obviously needs it. We did, parenthetically, I'll add, note there was one pothole on the big bridge deck itself, based on our inspection last Saturday. Second point is we have no objection to the requested forest conservation plan exemption because although the bridge's surrounding area has many large trees, they're on other people's properties and not within the limited disturbance. So and you couldn't plant trees in those rocks if you tried. So we don't object to the requested exemption. And the last point, which Mr. Copley has already addressed, on the 65% plans, the stream flow is in fact shown from southwest to northeast, but the forest conservation exemption request plan shows the water flow going the other way. And I'm here to tell you that Mr. Copley has it right. So those are the 3 points. Thank you very much for pursuing this work, and that is the end of the points I wish to make.
Thank you, Donald.
Thank you for pointing out that that issue on the forest conservation plan. We'll get that corrected.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have a question. We'll hear from Rich Romer. Rich?
Hi, this is Laura Romer.
Oh, hi.
Hi, thanks. So this might be outside the scope of the project, but there are numerous surveyor tape markings in that area. Is that related to this project or is that something else? Do you know?
It should be related to this project. We had surveyors go out there They have to survey the tree stand, and so
Okay, they
If
go
it-
pretty far. They go, I mean, telephone
yeah,
poles.
yeah, it goes pretty far.
Okay, okay. Just check. Are they replacing any of those? Is that outside the scope of this project?
Well, we're for the most part leaving all the trees alone.
And the telephone poles as well. Some of them are kind of low hanging wires along the entire road, but again, I'm just asking about that one section.
Which section are you?
But by the bridge,
Yeah, you're talking about the overhead lines.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, we're aware of the utility lines there. The we shouldn't have to relocate them
Okay,
during the construction. The beams are fairly light. They're not that heavy. They're not going to need a crane or anything to do it. They should be able to place it with like a front loader, and they won't need to get close to those power lines.
okay, thank you.
Hmm.
Okay, next we'll hear from Anshuman Saini. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hey, hello. This is
Hi.
Anshu. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi. So, I just wanted to ask whether there's going to be any change to the signage on the roads there. I believe it says narrow road, but I'm not sure if it says one lane bridge exactly, or it doesn't say it in both directions, I believe. So I was wondering if there's going to be any changes to the signage to um the road in question here.
Uh, you talk about one lane bridge signs, or
Right, yeah, one lane bridge signs and signs to keep maybe 18 wheeler off this road. Um those
we
types of issues.
we could talk with our division of traffic about the signage on the roadway, to check to make sure it's adequate, or if we need to add anything, we can add it. But we'll work with our division of traffic on that.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank
Mhm.
you. All right, next we'll hear from Henry Coden. Henry?
Good evening.
Good evening.
This may be a question for that division of traffic as well. With the detour, I know there's a number of trucks or some landscape companies that have their business along Gregg Road. And I see, a fair amount of traffic as they pass coming in from the Georgia Avenue side. It's quite a long, as a rural designated road. It's a windy, tight road for going through there with tall trailers. I travel that road with a travel trailer that gets stored along that road. And I just wondered whether prior to the actual construction, whichever department with Department of Transportation is responsible to ensure that tree branch clearance will allow for, standard truck traffic the whole length of Gregg Road. Right now I go in a quarter mile from George Avenue to come in from Zion. It's probably close to a couple of miles. And I think there's some low tree branches through there. I had checked through that alternate route today.
Our division of highway services, they will go through and trim tree branches that stick out in the roadway. If you have any kind of issue like that, I recommend making a 311 request. It'll go to
Okay.
them, and they'll go out and take care of it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, we do have a question in the chat. Is this bridge improvement predicted to happen before or after the Zion Road one-lane bridge improvement?
It's going to happen before. We're still a few years away from the Zion Road Bridge project. That's one I'm anxious to get done as well, but this will happen before that.
Okay, and I guess we had a hand raised, but I guess that answered his question as well. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, well, that then concludes our meeting this evening. On your screen, you'll see the project manager's email address, the project website. Also, the link is there. You can access the comment form to provide your comments either via the form or via email to Rashid Abramoff. We are accepting comments. The record will remain open through Friday, February 4th at 5 p.m. And thank you so very much for attending. Have a great night.
Thank you.